Greetings, this is Chris from Tantalizing Tech, and today we want to find out if the Dell XPS 9730 PC is ready for virtual reality. So in particular, we want to run the VR benchmark, which is the VRMark Orange Room test for this particular Dell XPS 9730. So this particular test, as I mentioned, will look at the virtual reality aspects and see if this laptop can actually handle virtual reality games. As you can see here in the background, we have the test loaded up, the VRMark test here, and if I would click benchmark, we'll start the test. So I'm going to do that now. Thank you. As you can see, it's collecting system information, so we'll allow it to run its various tests. Still collecting system information. And as you can see in the background here, it's running the VRMark Orange Room benchmark test to determine if this laptop can handle virtual reality. At the bottom here, you can also see the frames per second, the frames, and the time. Okay, I think the virtual reality test for the laptop is complete. As you can see here, this Dell XPS 9730 achieved a score of 10,189, and they say it's super. We have the VR Orange Room. In terms of these tests, you can see that they summarize it for you. They say outstanding. This system comfortably beat the target frame rate for the test. Now try running the more demanding Blue Room benchmark test. So in this particular test for the VRMark Orange Room, we have the average frame rate of 222.13 frames per second. Target frame rate is 109 frames per second. Oculus Rift minimum specs frame rate is 81.00 frames per second. And then in terms of average versus target, you can see that graph. And it says, how does your score compare? You can scroll down and you can see the different information down there. In terms of system information, we have the Intel Iris Xe graphics card, which is my main graphics card which is the graphics card that came with the Dell XPS 9730. But my main graphics card is the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4080 laptop GPU with 12 gigabytes of memory. In terms of CPU, I'm using the 13th generation Intel Core i9 13900H processor. And you can see the system information there and also the time and the GUI. For other particular aspects of this test, they do offer where you can see your result online. So I'm going to click the compare result online score, but there's also other tests that you could perform, and they may be at a cost, which is the Blue Room benchmark score. So those are things that you can go on the website and download and from VRMark and download that particular interface so you could get the Blue Room score. So I'm going to click on compare result online. There is a message here that says, please note that some older laptops that passed this test may still be incompatible with popular VR headsets for other reasons. Check hardware requirements carefully before buying the VR headset. So just a nice disclaimer there. But I'm going to compare this result online. And of course, they want you to create a VRMark account. I do have a 3DMark account out there, so I'm just going to X out of this. For VRMark, of course, this is the Orange Room benchmark desktop. And this score that we received is 10,189 with the NVIDIA RTX 4080 notebook GPU card. I'm also using an Intel Core i9 13900H processor, as I mentioned. The average frame rate is 222.13 frames per second, and the target frame rate is 109.00 frames per second. And of course, it says it's outstanding and it beats the target frame rate for this test. And of course, they invite you to run the Blue Room benchmark test if you wanted to do so. And in terms of where this compares, where the Dell XPS 179730 laptop compares with other tests, you can see pretty much in the middle there. And if I can go back to the other screen, somehow I went to another screen, we can see that this laptop here is pretty much in the middle here with 10,189, which is better than 73% of all their results. So a high-end gaming PC in 2020 came in at about 13,797. A premium gaming PC in 2020 came in at about 12,745. A gaming PC in 2020 came in at about 11,592. So this laptop is coming in around 10,189. An office laptop in 2022 came in at about 6,992. And a gaming laptop in 2020 came in at about 1,574. And of course, this just gives information about the user. The graphics card, once again, is NVIDIA RTX 4080. The manufacturer is Dell. I have one card. The GPU has 12 gigabytes of memory. The clock frequency is 795 megahertz. Didn't give an average clock frequency. The memory clock frequency is 2250 megahertz. It didn't give an average memory clock frequency or an average temperature, and it gives the driver version there. Furthermore, in terms of the processor, we're running an Intel Core i9 13900H processor. The clock frequency is 4,489 megahertz. We also have the average clock frequency, which they did not give, which is not applicable. The average temperature is not applicable. And physical versus logical processors is 1/20. The number of cores is 14 cores. The package ID is given there. The manufacturing process and the TDP is also given. In terms of general information, though, we're running 64-bit Windows 11, and you can see the actual version here. In terms of the motherboard, it's made by Dell, and the memory is 64 gigabytes, which is 2 sticks of 32 gigabytes made by Micron, running at 4,788 megahertz. In terms of the hard drive, the SSD, we have 1 terabyte NVMe PC 801 NVMe SK Hynix drive. And in future videos, I might show you how to upgrade this laptop to an 8 terabyte drive as your primary drive or as your secondary. So that's it. I want to thank you for watching Tantalizing Tech. I've been Chris. This has been the 3DMark, actual VRMark Orange Room benchmark for the Dell XPS 9730, and I would like to thank you for watching. This laptop achieved a score of 10,189, which is pretty much in the middle here. As you can see, it's in the middle of these other high-end premium and gaming PCs. Thank you for watching once again. Bye-bye.